welcome to another edition of the Burrow Podcast. I'm your host, Josh, and I'm joined by my loyal co-host, and we welcome back Mark Rayner. Mark, how you doing, mate, after that game on the weekend?
Yep, g'day Josh, g'day all. Mate, I thought it was a very spirited performance by the boys, mate. To be honest, I can't really fault them too much. They showed a lot of ticker. And defensively, mate, I thought we were very, very good. There was a couple of little lapses there that sort of cost us a little bit, but overall, mate, I thought they were quite stout.
Yeah, I don't think anyone can be upset with the efforts there, and we've spoken that on the podcast, and that's all we want to see. But what else did you get up to over the weekend? Some time with the family or things like that?
Yeah, time with the family, mate. My boys went down in a close game to Glenmore Park on Saturday, so that was pretty ordinary. But mate, otherwise just hitting the gym, mate, and getting the all the stuff ready for when I start with the YouTube stuff and the Instagram stuff for the personal training and strength and conditioning stuff, mate.
Well, once you get that up and running, no doubt we'll share it for everyone there to get onto your YouTube channel and start following you and on Instagram and that. But we do have a game this weekend. We play the Brisbane Broncos this Friday. We play up there at Suncorp, 8 o'clock kickoff. But the team list did drop today, and we'll quickly go through the side. A few surprise selections, a couple of return players, but fullbacks Jai Gray, Alex Johnston and Bailey Bentley-Harpe are the wingers. Zaya Tass, Tallis Duncan in the centres. Jack Whiten is the captain. Jamie Humphries is the halfback. Jai Arrow and Sean Kemp the front row. Ryan Gray is a hooker. Ewan Aitken, Jacob Host are the back rowers. And at lock, we've got Lachlan Hubner. On the bench, we've got Saliva Havili, Liam LeBlanc, making his first grade debut, Thomas Fletcher. Shout out to you, Nick. I know you're going to be a happy man about that. We've got Ashton Ward remains on the bench there. Pete Mamazella is 18th man. Lewis Dodd, Tyrone Munro, Shaq Mitchell, Celestia Tata make up the remainder of the bench, and they're coached by Wayne Bennett. What do you make of that side?
I think, mate, that's probably, similar to last week. It's probably obviously pending what happens to Jack, but it's probably the strongest possible lineup that we could throw out there. I think Wayne was probably right in I'm gonna say resting Ty. There was a couple of little defensive deficiencies that he had there on the weekend, mate, which it happens when you're a young fella. He'll learn from those, and I'm sure he'll be back very, very quickly. Yeah, look, mate, it is what it is, and if the boys give us 80% of what they gave on the other night against the Sharks, mate, then they'll keep it competitive.
Well, I've just got news in that Jack Whiten has been found guilty. And he's looking at 4 weeks now. I kind of expected that. Don't agree with the decision, so we've just announced that he's in the side. Well, there's another change. There's going to be another forced change for us in the half. So I think that's going to be about the 11th combination we're going to have in the halves, because you've got either Ashton Ward or Lewis Dodd comes back in. So it'll be interesting. What do you see now that Jack's been found guilty? What do you think will happen?
It's hard to say, mate. I mean, like, he's obviously got something against Dodd. So I don't know. Does he bring Ashton Ward to make his full first grade debut as a starter? Mate, I don't know, mate. For me personally, we're obviously not interested in giving Lewis any decent chance, mate. So you may as well just throw young Ward in there and see how he goes, I reckon.
Well, one thing I'll say, with the side that was named, I understand why he wouldn't have Dodd off the bench. Dodd's not your game breaker that's going to come on, whereas even last week we've seen with Ashton Ward, that early kick that had Tyrone Munro picked it up, he would have had a try assist to his name. Things like that aren't the things that you expect to see Dodd come on and break open a game, whereas I think Ashton Ward has that little kind of thing in his game where we will see a bit of excitement and attack and be able to cut the game open. But I was told today that at training, Ashton Ward was training in the halves. So possibly he comes in and Pete Mamazellis comes to the bench to come on as hooker to make way for Ryan Gray. I don't know why. I suppose I do know why, because defensively, 65 tackles is great, but the other side of it with Ryan Gray is his service from dummy half. He doesn't get the forwards running on the ball anything like Pete Mamazelos can.
Yeah, mate. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Defensively, very, very good, but yeah, just I don't know, not quite what we sort of need in attack at the moment. But I'm sure Uncle Wayne's got his reasons, mate. And but we could see that change before kickoff.
Yeah, he could go with Dodd and keep Ward on the bench, but just looking at the way it was at training today, what I was told it was today, that's the way I see it making up. We've got Tommy Fletcher making his debut, and I know his dad Nick watches us every week. We gave him a shout out last week. He commented in there saying that how he loves this podcast and that, and mate, I know you're going to be up there, Nick, and I can't wait to catch up with you up there at the game and after the game as well. You know you're such a proud father, big South Sydney fan. We know that, mad South Sydney fan, but you must be as proud as punch there that's going out there to see your son finally get his debut.
Mate, I reckon, mate, I think, like, we're proud, you know what I mean, that he's doing that, and we're only, like, you know, we're just a couple of blokes that support the club, mate. But can you imagine how proud he will actually be, mate, to see his son make his debut? I think that's magnificent, mate, and all the best to the young fella. I hope he has a cracker.
Yeah, well, I met Nick a couple of years ago up at Newcastle when we were playing up at Newcastle a couple of years ago, and he was chatting to me then. He was telling me how hard Thomas was working just to get ready for pre-season, to get a full pre-season for last season. Then more injuries happened, but he's had a good run now and finally gets his chance. And I know Thomas himself will be loving it. They're all in a circle there at training today, giving him a round of applause and things like that. You just love seeing these sort of things. Last week we've seen it with Ashton Ward there, getting his first grade debut and how much it meant to him. And seeing those sort of videos, that it may not even be for our side. Anyone that makes a first grade debut shows how much work they've put in just to get there. Doesn't matter whether, you know, if you only play one or two first grade games. But what I like is this now puts him in there to say to the club, hey, I'm still unsigned for next year. Sign me up.
100%, mate. It's about putting yourself in the shop window, isn't it? You know, and either you know he stays with us, mate, or this might be the catalyst to sort of propel him into the vision of other clubs. So, mate, good luck to him. You know, like I said, I hope he has an absolute cracking game, and yeah, I'm super proud that he's that we've got another debutant, mate.
Yeah, well, we've also got Tyrone Munro's been dropped this week. He had a bit of a Barry under the high ball last week. I think he had 5 errors, something like that. And I can understand Wayne doing that. And Bailey Bentley Harper, he's just come back from injury and he gets another shot.
Yeah, poor old Tyrone, mate. He couldn't catch COVID in Wuhan, mate, the other night. You know what I mean? Like he I don't know, mate. You get that. You know, some games you master the high ball, and some games, mate, you just have a torrid time. I remember there's lots of wingers, mate, throughout history, and there've been superb wingers as well that have had Barry Crockers, mate. So like I said, I'm sure you'll be back. Just work on a few things, Ty, and we'll see you back in the top grade soon.
Yeah, sometimes it's just a case of confidence. And unfortunately, he was rushed back into first grade when he came back from injury to hopefully build up his confidence. He's had a couple of injuries with the collarbone, and it's good to see him having a whole heap of games on the run. But he was meant to come back and have a few games, New South Wales Cup, to kind of get back into it. And hopefully this is where he'll get his confidence back and isn't out too long.
Yeah, I mean, a similar, like, I remember that, was it a prelim? Jackson Paulo? Like he'd had a really, really good season, mate, and then just that one game.
No, it was against Penrith in the lead up towards the end of the season. He had a shot on the high ball. Yeah, I remember it. And then Liam Martin scored the game winner. But yeah, it was a simple catch and he just dropped it cold. But I mean, there's no easy catch under the high ball, is there? Like, it's just there's so much pressure every time you're under it.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, and I'm an old fullback myself, mate, and I put a few down in my time as well, mate. It's just one of those things that happens with Ty the other night, mate. He dropped one, and you know that sort of dents your confidence. If your headspace is not right, then you're going to drop more. 100%. You need to make a mistake. You need to put that behind you straight away, and just treat the next one as a brand new one. But poor old Ty just it got in his head a little bit, I think, and yeah, that happens, mate.
Yeah, well, we we recently just re-signed. We announced that we re-signed Lockie Hubner. He had a 2-year extension to the end of 2028. I really like that, and look, it's going to be interesting to see now that he's had this game time. Now Cam Murray comes back, and he'll be the starting lock. You got Brandon Smith as well, but having him there as well, and having these guys around, not having to play as big minutes and coming on, doing those big hits like that chase. I spoke about it with Michael the other day. That chase typified the efforts of everyone on that field.
Yeah, 100%, mate. He's been a class player all season for us, mate. And you're right. I think coming off the bench next year and being that impact player for us. Hell, I don't know. Wayne might even start him. I don't know, but however it evolves for him, mate, I'm glad that he's sticking around because he's certainly a valuable member of the team. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, we've got Jai Arrow's moves to the front row. His efforts just over this year, and now that Jack Whiten's out, who do we make captain? Is it going to be Jai Arrow? Is it going to be Alex Johnston? Or will it be someone else?
Mate, I think just for the presence in the middle, mate, it has to be Jai. It has to be Jai. Look, in saying that, mate, I wouldn't be upset if they gave it to AJ. I was certainly not. But I just think that that presence in the middle and a voice like Jai's summoning the troops, especially when you got to get in those moments where you got to really get in the trenches. I think it'll be Jai.
Yeah, I agree there. And we'll just go back to Jack White. And I was hearing on the TV just before when the Jack didn't actually go into the judiciary, whatever. He had his legal team do all the talking for him, and they were talking about what did he say to one of the panel members last time in his defence? What was it? Something like how many first grade games have you played?
Yes, correct.
So
how many, sir?
Maybe that's bitten him on the butt.
That's how many.
What did Sam call it at one stage? Kangaroo court?
Mate, it is what it is, mate. They had a crack, they lost. It was a bullshit decision to begin with. We all know that. That's the luck of the draw this year, isn't it, mate?
Well, you can't make your lead referee look bad from the bunker, can you? In Ashley Klein.
Yeah, apparently not. So
just saying.
Yeah. So anyway, it is what it is, mate. It's you'll be missing for 4 weeks, I think it is now. So we had a crack. Good on them.
Mm. Well, on top of all the injuries we have now, we get a couple back, but then we lose a couple. Well, we lost to Toller. That was unfortunate. Doing his shoulder, scoring that try right at the end of the game. We'll talk about more injuries. Cody Walker was on 100% footy last night, and he spoke about possibly being back in 2 weeks' time for the Titans. And Latrell Mitchell was on the field before the game, and they were interviewing him there, and he said he could possibly be back in 2 weeks' time, which would be, again, the Titans game. If not, they'd be back for the Eels game. But I'd love to see them as long as they're okay, especially Cody. I want to see him be able to last a full game. But having them two back for that game against the Titans will certainly give the guys a boost, won't it?
Oh, for sure. Anytime you have those two out on the football field, mate, it's got to have some sort of impact on the psyche of the team, especially being a pretty young sort of football side that we've got. Yeah, hopefully they can make it back, mate. But Jesus, I'm almost tempted to say, look, just put them out to pasture until the off season, for Christ's sake. It's just the season's done. We don't need to rush any of them back, mate. To be honest with you, Cam, Latrell, Cody, just Campbell, just go and have a rest and get your bodies right and get ready for pre-season.
Look, I'll say this, and let's say they don't come back. Let's say the club decide to wrap them up. I love the fact that these boys are wanting to come back. I'm loving that they're seeing the position we're in and they want to be there out there helping these guys. That just shows how much this means to not only them, but the rest of the team, and how much these guys are going to fight for it. The way Cam Murray is just working harder and harder to get back in that small space of time from the Achilles injury. And he had a setback and it looked like, no, that was definitely his season. But he said, no, I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to push myself to make sure I get back. It's just things like that show what this team means to them.
Oh, 100%, mate. And that's, what, that's for me, mate, that says all I need to know about them. That the fact that they're trying their best to get back out on the field, and it's obviously it's up to the the strength and conditioning guys and the physios and all that sort of stuff to put their masterful minds together and work out whether that's going to take place or not. But honestly, for me, I wouldn't be upset if they just put them on ice until the preseason, mate. But like you said, the fact that they want to get out there and bust their ass for the club, mate, shows the character of the men.
Anyway, we're going to go to our weekly segment of Cody's weekly stats. Hit it, Cody.
G'day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Cody's Weekly Stats. I'm Cody from Cody's Footy World. This week on Friday, we take on the Brisbane Broncos for the second time this year, kicking off at 8 p.m. Friday night. Our head-to-head against the Broncos, 51 games we've played against them, 33 to the Broncos, 17 to the Rabbitohs, and one draw thrown in there. Wayne Bennett has won 11 out of 12 game Michael Maguire sides. Rabbitohs have conceded 136 points in our last 4 games at Suncorp Stadium. Rabbitohs have also scored 100 points against the Broncos in our last 4 games we played the Broncos at Suncorp Stadium. Our last 3 games against the Broncos, the team who's been losing has been held scoreless at halftime. Our highest crowd between the Broncos and Rabbitohs was 50,109 in 2009 at Suncorp, where we won 44 points to 12. Our biggest loss to the Broncos was in 1995 at Queensland Sports Athletics Centre, known as ANZ Stadium back then, where we got flogged 56-6 in 1995. Our biggest win against the Broncos was in 2021 at Suncorp Stadium, where we won 46-0. Great game that was. Another unique stat here, Rabbitohs versus Broncos in 2000 draw is the highest drawn game since the Golden Point rule was brought in 2003, 34 all at the old Sydney Football Stadium. We have played 21 games at Suncorp Stadium against the Broncos. Broncos have won 14, Rabbitohs have won 7, and since 2019, every odd year we've played them at Suncorp, we have won. Can we make it 4 in a row? Go to Rabbitohs.
Thank you, Cody. Well, I think he stuffed up there with one of the stats. He said that Wayne's won 11 of 12. I think he meant to say 11 of the last 12 because up against Madge Maguire. But of course, Madge won the first 5 against him when he was coaching us. And the only other one that Wayne's lost to Madge was when he was coached for us and we played the Tigers there, so at Parramatta Stadium. But it's a great record to have, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%, mate. Absolutely. I mean, look, Wayne Bennett is he's not the goat for no reason, mate. He knows what he's doing. He's been around for a very long time. He's got a great record against pretty much every single coach in the game. I don't know, maybe except Craig Bellamy, I think, but yeah, look, mate, that's been a great battle between those two men for a few years now, and we'll see another version of that on Friday night.
Yeah, well, tell me, how many coaches can get their side up like he did that have 10 of your starting 17 out, have 15 or 16 injuries overall, backs against the wall like that, and get them up and get them out there playing with that sort of effort? How many coaches do that?
Yeah, 100%. There wouldn't be many in the game, mate, that would be able to do that. Besides maybe a Bellamy or somebody like that. But he's a master, mate. He was a sterling effort by the boys, and that Wayne Bennett's presence and the way he speaks to the players, and we all know he's a wonderful man manager, mate, and he massaged them pretty good and got them real ready. So no, it was outstanding.
Yeah, well, we speak about Madge, and we've got very fond memories of Madge, and Madge still loves this club. And when we played them last time, and we beat them, he was there the day after for the function that they had when they had the function on all coaches, and he was only too happy, and he was surprised at the ovation that he got from everyone there, and he's still very much loved at this club. I mean, we're never going to forget the 2014, are we?
No, never, mate. And I mean, on top of his obvious coaching achievements, mate, he's a wonderful bloke. And had the pleasure to have many conversations with Madge while he was at the club, and he's just to give you the shirt off his back if he could. So no, wonderful man, and will always be welcome at South Sydney anytime.
Well, we speak about the Brisbane side, and there was another former South Sydney personality there that's quite the big subject for the last 4 years is Adam Reynolds. A lot of look, to be honest, I'm sick of hearing about it. We can't change it now. It's about us moving forward.
What are we going to do? Whinge so loud that he comes back? You know what I mean? Like, please. For whatever reason, mate. I mean, we know what might have transpired as to why he made that move and all that sort of thing, but family comes first, and I think he purely made a decision based on family and for financial reasons and things of that nature, mate. And you know what, he's played his little arse off, mate, while he's been up there. Old Tic Tac Teeth, as I call him, but he's a champion bloke, and again, one of those fellas, mate, that will always be welcome back at the club. He's loved universally.
Oh, look, there's no doubt he still loves the club. I often speak to his best mate, Matty Kelso. I've had a few conversations with him, and he tells me how much he still loves the club or whatever. And he's certainly going to be, a South Sydney legend. He's our top point scorer of all time. But I understand people are all upset, but this is 4 years later. I had young Chris Cook send me a message the other day showing me this, and I'm going, mate, I get it. Enough's enough. Come on. Time to move on, and we can't do anything about it. I understand being upset a year or two later, but this is a time when it's about what we do next. Finding a good halfback's very hard, but there are some really good young ones out there. You got to look at the halves. You got to look at Ethan for Canberra. You've got Katoa playing up there at the Dolphins. These guys are some of the best halves going around right now. He just recently got injured. Luke Metcalf for the Warriors. Those sort of guys. Guy that's the subject of a lot of talk right now, Lockie Galvin, another very good half. And so they're out there, but we've just got to find them. We've signed Jonah Glover for next year. He could possibly be a guy that steps up, given an opportunity. You just never know. We've seen Cody Walker at the age of 26 make his debut, and look at him, he's played over 200 first-grade games now. They are out there, and sometimes someone just needs someone to give them an opportunity, and they take that with both hands. But it is time to move on from Adam Reynolds.
Undoubtedly, mate. If I was at Souths, mate, the first thing that I'd be doing is I'd be catching a plane to New Zealand, and I'd be having a little meeting with Nathan Cleary's brother, mate, because I watched that kid Mate, he is immensely talented and, mate, could even be better than Nathan at the same age. Mate, I'd be pursuing Jet 100%. I'd be going all in on the lad, and that's just what I'd be doing. I'd be, you sort of sometimes you have to look outside the box, mate, and I'm that kind of that person that has a little bit of a extra bo peep at some of these other young kids that are running around, and that's what I'd be doing, mate.
Well, interesting. I mean, they're coming first in the New South Wales Cup. They've how many have they won in a row? They've won a whole heap in a row. They're heavy favourites, so he's doing something right at that level. And could he possibly find himself? I know they're having a bit of a downward spiral now. The Warriors with Tanner Boyd playing in the half since they've lost Luke Metcalf. They lost to the Titans last week, but could they possibly give him a run in the run home to see how he goes?
Yeah, 100%, mate. They might sort of have a look at because they would have played against him and sort of having a bit of a look at how young Ward's going over here in first grade, and mate, that might very well help them sort of make up their mind to give Jed a crack at it, because I don't think he'd let him down. Like for me, like Tanner Boyd's a solid option, mate. But and I get it. That's why it's very, very important for the Warriors, I guess, to try and finish in that top four. So they want a bloke there that's got a little bit more experience in the top grade. But he certainly wouldn't let anybody down, I don't think.
Yeah, well, we've got some of our own kids coming through. They've got quite talented kids in the halves. We've just seen Ashton Ward come last week. You got Matt Humphries, who's playing New South Wales Cup this week. He was playing SG Ball. He was leading the SG Ball side around. Now he's playing New South Wales Cup. He's partnering Lewis Dodd this week in New South Wales Cup. You've got Taj Alvarez that people are very excited about. There's a young kid, Charlie Bader, playing. He played Harold Matts this year, and this is someone Chaps speaks very highly of. He reckons he's a pick of the lot. He's only a young kid, and we got him from the Sharks, and the Sharks are really upset that we got him. It just shows the work that they're doing in our pathways, getting these young kids over. I was listening to the podcast that the Rabbitohs put out today with Jeremy Monahan, Mark Ellison, and Shannon Donato. I was listening to that today, and they were talking about a lot of these kids that we have coming through, which is one area, and Brent Hill does a brilliant job. We've spoken about it before. He's doing a great job there getting these kids over. So we've got a lot of those kids coming through. The problem is about now. Who do you get now? Like, I'd personally look at someone like Jonah Pezzett from the Storm and saying, hey, why don't you come up here for a couple of years? Because they've just re-signed Jerome Hughes. They've blocked his path there. You got Cam Munster. So I'd be looking at them and saying, well, why don't you come up here for 2 years, see how it goes, get some time in first grade.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty good option as well, mate. I think there was a little bit of talk that that the Bears are going to throw the kitchen sink at Munster to try and make him the marquee player when Perth comes into the comp. So maybe they keep. I mean, and this is if the young lad wants to. He's got to wanna. He realise that he's going to sit behind those two blokes until if Munster decides to leave the Storm, and so he might not want to. He might just go, nah, piss off. I've sat behind you for the last bloody 3 years now. It's time for me to branch out and test myself. So, mate, that could work, mate. And you know what? I'd be just as happy if he came to the club, because I think he's a classy footballer as well.
Yeah. Well, or even still, like even if that is the case and that's what Cam Munster's going to do, why don't we put him on a loan deal like we did with Bud Sullivan, like the Tigers did with Harry Grant? Just have him on a year loan where we can use him, get him here, and have that situation. And that works great for both sides, because I don't know the situation with Bud. It looks like we are going to try and re-sign him for an extra year on the loan deal again. We'll work out that with Shane Richardson and the Tigers. I'm not sure what makeup we would do, but I don't know. It's just a situation where we do have these kids coming through, but they're a few years away. And that's the thing. We've got to think now rather than a few years away. We can't have another season down the bottom, missing the top 8. We need to get back in the top 8.
Yep, 100%, mate. And I'm sure the wonderful brains trust of the club will work out what we need to do, mate, and point us in the right direction, I hope. Otherwise, we're going to come and take your job, fellas, so get it right.
I won't be doing that. I won't be doing that. You can have that job. I'll keep sticking to what I do, stay out of the limelight. But we're kind of gone away from the game this week, and just with the Broncos, they've named a strong side, and they've dropped. They've made a move after their poor effort against the Eels. They've dropped Karapani. They've dropped Jesse Arthurs, and brought in Dean Merrimer and Selwyn Cobbo.
Yep, 2 big inclusions as well, mate. They bounced 2 pretty decent footy players out and bring another 2 pretty decent footy players in. So look, I mean, mate, Selwyn's Selwyn's represented at Origin level, mate. He's been a little bit down on form, recently, I suppose, but I think he's managed to sort of fight his way back in via the Queensland Cup. So that's pleasing for Selwyn. The other fella, mate, he's a little bit rocks and diamonds as well, but he's obviously been doing things right to fight his way back into the squad. So they're going to be very, very dangerous, mate. Brisbane, they've got class all around the park. Walsh, Reynolds, Mann, mate. Katoni Staggs is probably one of my favourite my favourite players in the competition at the moment. And up front, mate, they just got blokes that just rumble for 80 minutes. Payne Haas, Carrigan. Even I love that. I love the lock. I don't know if I think he might be on the bench at the moment, but that Hetherington. I think he's
Kobe Hetherington. He's on the bench.
Yep.
For them this week. So
I really like that bloke.
Carrigan's block, and you got Xavier Willison with or as Annis would call him, Willison. I think that's one area they get wrong. The Broncos having Xavier Willison starting. They probably should have started with Hetherington and have him coming off the bench. Kind of.
Yeah.
Having 2 of those, and when they both come off, they tend to struggle. They did against the Eels anyway. But just speaking of Mariner, he usually gets a couple of tries against us.
That's probably why he's in the squad this week, Madge. Cheeky bastard.
I know Madge would love to get one over us, but
I'll tell you what. Before we go any further, just quickly, mate. I'm a big fan of that Willison, mate. I'm a big fan, and I do agree with you, mate. At the moment, being so young and so raw, he should be coming off the bench, 100%. But mate, can you imagine in 2 or 3 seasons what that prick's going to be able to, mate? I'm telling you. What a frightening proposition, mate. What a frightening proposition.
Who would have thought having big forwards actually works, eh?
Amazing. Masterstroke.
Yeah. But we'll move on now and we'll talk about our memorable games. We've spoken a bit earlier. We spoke a few, but any memorable games for you against the Broncos?
I enjoyed the win against them at the start of this season, mate. That was pretty good. That was, back when we knew how to football before all the massive injury curse sort of crippled us.
Latrell Mitchell, 50-metre 2-point field goal.
Yeah.
Well, 49, but I don't know. In 10 years' time, we'll be saying it's like 65 metres.
Yeah, 100%.
Isn't that how it works?
I'm saying that already.
Like the George Burgess grand final try, that was like a 70-metre run.
Yeah, mate. If you asked George, it was 70 metres, 100%. But mate. There's been a few over the years, mate, that have been wonderful wins. When GI scored that memorable try, I enjoyed when we I think it was 2019 when Wayne took over. Is that
yes.
Right? And we done Seabold's Broncos, but they won the post contact meters, so that was okay. Wayne did his little dance,
little shuffle in in the sheds.
That was outstanding, mate. So, but we've also been on the receiving end of a couple of ass kickings from us.
Yeah,
as well,
they're
mate.
not so memorable.
Nah.
Although there's one game that'll always stick in my mind that we played the Broncos, and that was 2003, round 2, 2003. And I remember there was a tackle. It was the last tackle, and there wasn't long to go. There was like about a minute to go. Nathan Merrick just cut this player down right on the line. We got the changeover, and then Paul Stringer goes to ruck it out. Gordon Tallis just comes in, reefs the ball out. They spin it wide and score out wide to win the game. And I remember that game. We're in Bay 38, in the Burrow there in Bay 38. Everyone's jumping over, hugging each other. And then someone just looks at me, and I've got my head down like this, hands covering my eyes, just going like this. And they're going, what the hell? What the hell? They're all celebrating, and they're looking at me, and then they're going, what are you doing? And I'm just there, just gutted, and they're all like going, and then they look up and see that the Broncos are all celebrating. Everyone's going, what happened? What happened? No one actually seen the strip. And I remember Gordon Tallis when he was coaching us in, would have been 2011. We're up at we're playing a trial up at Coffs, and we're at the pub afterwards. All the players are there, and we asked Gordon, we all spoke about that one incident, and he goes, the only thing South fans ever want to talk to me about was that strip.
Was that when when he gave the ball to Captain America, Brent Tate, and he scored? Yeah.
Tate scored out in the corner. Yes,
that was mate, dead set. That still gets, thinking about that game, mate, still gets my blood pressure to very unhealthy levels, mate. So if that comes into my mind, I need to have about 5 minutes of mindfulness and deep meditation to push that one out, mate. It still shits me.
Another one we talk about is 2009. We end up winning 44 to 12, and we absolutely annihilated them. John Sutton had a masterclass that game. Bo Champion scored a hat trick. Nathan Merritt scored a couple, but the memorable part of that game was Jamie Simpson making the break, and Tony Delaharris, the referee at the time, he was stepping him. He couldn't get out of the way, and he stepped him, got around him. And Tony Carroll tried to jump over him because he slipped over, and tried to jump over him and then kneed him right in the head, knocked him out cold. The game was stopped for about 15 minutes for this. Like, I was there, and the game stopped for 15 minutes, and you just seen this referee laid out, and usually you'd be cheering at that. Like, they're the things you want to see. Like, I think a lot of people wanted to see when the Sharp, kind of hurt herself, and we could all up. Like, no, but probably not. Probably going a bit too far.
Be careful, Josh.
But the thing is, when we always think, oh yeah, we'd love to see that happen. And the moment it happens, you're going, oh shit, that's not good. Yeah. That's not good at all. Like, you're going, wow. Once you're seeing the hit, you're like, wow, okay.
What do they call him? Tony Delahaha. Well, Tony Delahaha was in La La, mate. I'm telling you, like, yes. he was out cold. And I think from memory, mate, didn't they have to? They got a replacement referee, because I think the camera panned to him and you could see him take off his gear.
Yeah,
he might have refereed the under 20s or whatever it was, or the reserve grade beforehand, and he was just kicking back.
They always have a reserve ref at the games, because I remember there was another game where I seen a ref pulled a Hemi.
Yes,
and yeah, it wasn't one of our games, but I think it was up there at Suncorp as well, but he pulled a Hemi and he had to be replaced. It's happened a few times. So
you wouldn't want to be 6 schooners in, would you?
They'd probably do a better job.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Slightly better than Melinda.
Although I've seen she's been dropped this week, and they brought Liam Kennedy back up. So
really,
yeah,
that's shocked me, mate. Can't believe it.
Well, look, I mean, we can bag referees a lot, but I'd hate to be doing their job.
Oh, 100%, mate. 100%.
I wouldn't be able to keep up. I'd be going like Linda Sharp. I'd forget the tackle count as well.
Mate, it's bad. It's bad enough when you hear some of the parents and that in the junior league games, mate. Let alone refereeing in front of 40,000 people, who half of them, you go, oh yeah, well, maybe there might be 50% that like me. No, there's 100% that don't like you. So yeah.
There's a game that we haven't spoken about that's probably brought us a lot of joy. 24 pre-season to his challenge, 27-26. And it's funny, the difference in that game ended up being a 47th minute field goal by Duncan McRae. That put us up by 13 points, and Broncos ended up getting up. Just they ended up being ahead of us, and yeah, it was a Craigfield try with 8 minutes to go that was a match winner. Nobody gave our team a lick of hope in that game, and even worse was we lost Tricky Trindle to suspension from the game before, and Duncan McRae ended up playing fullback that game. So. But
yeah, mate, it was unreal. I remember I was living on the Central Coast with Dad at the time, mate, and watching it on his old TV in the lounge room, and mate, it was just magnificent. And I thought to myself, bloody hell, we'll win the comp this year. We've just knocked over the Broncos. But anyway, that was that was fantastic, especially as a kid, mate. And you and I would have only both been pretty young back in '94, mate. So yeah, it was a happy memory from not a great deal of joy besides the sort of late '80s that I remember anyway.
Yeah, well, it was certainly the highlight back then because that game wasn't shown live on TV. That was delayed by an hour.
Yeah,
did you?
Yeah.
Did you do the sneaky thing?
I wouldn't have known, mate. I wouldn't have known anything because
you would have been about 16 then, because I was 17. Later that year, I turned 18, so I couldn't go out and get to the pub and watch it or whatever things like that. But
I think I was. I think I was about 16. Yeah, I would have been 16.
God, we just gave away our age.
17 later on in that year, mate. But yeah, it was a good game, mate. And I remember just thinking, wow, that's a massive effort. You had a look at Brisbane's team, mate. Queensland and Australian representatives all the way through it. And here's little old South Sydney knocking them off, mate. So yeah, no, it was good.
Yeah, down there at Albury there. But yeah, as I said, the game was delayed, so we didn't have the internet back then. There was no internet there for us to look up and to be able to see things. But I must admit, when it was looking like we were going to lose, I switched on the radio, and all of a sudden I'm hearing talk, South Sydney have upset the Broncos. I was just jumping up and down and excited. But I also remember there was a game against the Dragons, and Dragons looked like they were going to beat us. And it was Damien Chapman for the Dragons through this long cutout pass.
Yeah.
Dave Penner, intercept try. Length of field intercept try. It was basically like about a minute to go through that. The game was over. And he threw that. It was a length of the field intercept try by Dave Penner.
Mate, I'll tell you what, like when you have a look at, and mate, we had some real toilers, man, back then, mate, and just blokes that just would have absolutely that did bust their ass for the club, mate, you know, and sometimes, mate, it doesn't matter. You can have a star-studded football team, mate. It doesn't make you a star football team, you know.
Well, some of the guys we had in that side, you had Dean Schifferletti. We got him over just for a year because he was going to the Western Reds. But you had guys like Jeremy Doniger, Terry Hermanson, Tony Mesrov came to us that year, who's the CEO of Manly right now.
Yeah.
Jamie Corcoran, he was a goal kicker that night. Paul Mellor, we spoke about Duncan McRae before. Jason Bell, David Penner, they came over they were stuck in reserve grade from Parramatta, and they had a very good year and Dave Penner I thought he was a very good player, Dave Penner. Yep. And so we had a lot of great players that season that performed really well. You know, you had Torrance Smith move to lock.
Was Sean Garlick in that side?
No, he'd left us because when Alan Jones came in, because he played for us in '93, and he kind of got the boot out of South, told he wasn't wanted. Certainly not a fan of Alan Jones.
Fucking,
John Carley.
I would have ran 100 miles too if Jones had turned up. Jesus Christ.
Yes, but yeah, later on that year we ended up getting the late Jason Sinclair. He came halfway through the season. So yeah, but yeah, I was saying before, Tyron Smith at lock, he ended up, that was his first year as lock. He was a winger. When he first started, he was a winger. The year before, I remember him scoring a long-range try at the SCG from the wing, but they decided to put him in as a lock, and that was a masterstroke for his career.
Yeah,
So,
certainly was.
Yeah, well, I am travelling up with Michael this week. I'm flying up on Thursday to the game, going up there. I know Cody's coming up, Michelle Cheney's coming up, Kavina. It's going to be good to see some of the guys up there at Brisbane, like Steve Moosman and Joe, catching up to her. She's not far off being due now, so she's got 2 weeks of South up there. They'll go to see us there, and the week after at the Gold Coast. You still iffy about coming to the Gold Coast, or?
Probably not going to be able to, mate, just due to my own footy commitments down here, bud. But yeah, I'm a bit disappointed. But yeah, I've got some
You
responsibilities.
could always do a quick
down
trip
here,
on the
mate.
Sunday.
Hey,
Get an early flight on the Sunday and fly back home on the Sunday night.
mate, yeah,
Right.
I'd love to, man, but it's a little bit tough at the moment. But mate, I always do love our Gold Coast trips, mate, and all those wonderful people that you just mentioned, especially Michelle and her partner and her wonderful mum. I love them dearly, mate. So I'm sure you'll look after them.
Yeah, no, definitely will. And I'll be heading up to the Gold Coast the week after with my partner Pat and Michael there, and a few others will be heading up for that game. But we'll talk more about that next week. But if you do want to go, we're in the away supporters bay. It's a GA area, 17-1. You can there's tickets still available on Ticketmaster, so make sure you get them there. This week we are in Bay 317. I just want to make a correction. The other day I spoke about the Roosters game. I don't know where I got that number. We are in Bay 25 for the Roosters game. That'll be a good one for you guys to get there. But I also want to send apologies to everyone that had trouble getting into the game the other night. There was a big stuff up with our season passes. They weren't accepting our season passes. I was onto the club pretty quickly, but they got that sorted out pretty quickly in the end. So, but it was a bit of a stuff out. But we are meant to be using our passes. Hopefully they do work when we do play at Allianz Stadium, and that's a game I'm really looking forward to. Hopefully we can get a big crowd, and kind of show further why this is the ground that we should be at.
Yeah, mate, I've no doubt that that the South fans will turn out in force, and I'm sure Parramatta will turn out in force as well. So it should be it was a cracker last year, mate, and I'm sure it won't be any different this year. So yeah, it should be a ripper.
Yeah, well, I'd like to get a big crowd there, especially in the Burrow, because we got some things planned for that game that we hope you guys can be a part of. It's certainly something we're looking forward to. Joe Curry out there, he's been doing a great job in preparing for this. So shout out to you, Joe, and mate, appreciate all the work you're doing there. And once you guys do see it, it's something you guys will really love.
Are the big Kemp and Rayner heads available for purchase yet, mate?
Yeah, we've got them on sale. We've got to hold 2 of them. Patty and Loz are going to be holding them up. That's about it.
Mate, there's certainly 2 heads you don't want in quadruple XL, mate. That's for sure.
No, I don't think even Pat or Loz would want that. But yeah, I just want to go on something. We spoke before about the captains. So far, we're talking about with Jack White now, and we think it'll be between Jai Arrow and perhaps Alex Johnston, but that'll be the 5th different captain we've had this year. With the expected Cam Murray to come back, that could possibly be 6 captains in a season. That's got to be some sort of record for us.
It reminds me of the way things are these days. Everybody gets a participation award. Mate, they're just, we've got to hand out the captaincy like lawyers at the club at the moment, mate. But you know what? Everybody that's had the C next to their name this year, mate, for us has deserved it, and earned the right to have the C next to their name, except, Junior. I don't know what the hell happened to you, the Newcastle, mate, but that was piss poor.
I think that was a Stephen Bradbury moment.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was a Bradbury. But we'll keep that on the down low, champion. But yeah, man, whoever they give it to will do a job for us, mate, and make us proud, no doubt.
Well, we did have 5 in 2012, if you remember the 5 leadership group, and they each had a turn each week there until about around 15 or whatever. Then they stuck with one. I think they ended up sticking with Sutton, but didn't they have? They had Sutton, Matt King, Michael Crocker, Roy Asatasi, and Sam Burgess. I think they were the 5 captains they had there. Madge, when he first came over, kind of was a bit of a flop, wasn't it? Do you remember what we used to do in the old Rabbitoh Army song? Because whenever we do the Rabbitoh Army, someone would yell out who the captain was. I just said 5 different names after.
Mate, those are the days. They were fun days, man. Good days. I'll have to get over a couple of times next season, mate, and stand with you again, buddy. Because I do miss it, mate.
I've got to give a shout out to a couple of your mates that I seen before the game up at Gosford there, the Moody brothers, Byron and Cameron. I ran into them before the game, so
wow,
down at Gosford outside of the gate there. So they were there, and that was good because I remember you playing wheelchair footy with them back quite a few years ago.
Yeah, mate. I think I coached both the boys at one stage, mate, and they were as well as a lot of other guys, were very supportive when we started the New South Wales Wheelchair Rugby League up. That's back in 2009, 2010 now. So long time ago. But yeah, no, I've known those boys for a long time, and they're champion brothers, and they argue like cats and dogs, mate, which is normal brother stuff, mate. But they're good lads. I haven't seen them for a while, so I wouldn't mind catching up with them one day.
Yeah, no, it was really good to see them. And I met one of our loyal listeners the other week when we played Penrith. I meant to give him a shout out last week to Luke Mondello. Him and his mates there. Really good to meet the guys that are watching each week. And shout out to you. And hopefully we'll see you there at the Indigenous game, which I'm sure we will. But it's really good to see these guys and meet them, and really appreciate when people that are watching at home come up and see me and say good day. It's really good. We love seeing your comments.
Yeah, 100%, and we appreciate all the support. We appreciate all comments. Positive and not so positive. It's all feedback, and it's stuff that that we can learn from. We're obviously only very new to this stuff as well, so we really do appreciate all of you, and thank you very much.
I'll tell you, talking about being new to it, it's hard having the headphones in unless you listen to yourself to see how you can improve. Not many people like hearing their own voice.
Mine's shocking. I don't notice it. Well, obviously when I'm speaking, but when I listen to myself, I swear to God, I come from some far out New South Wales town, like I'm friggin', But I'm a born and bred city boy, but I friggin' sound like I come from the outback.
Well, you're out of Penrith now, so maybe you've changed a little bit.
I'll wear the Akubra next week just for shits and gigs.
Yeah, well, how do you see this game going? And what do you want to see from this game? What do you want to go away taking out of this game?
Oh, mate, I think if they put in the same effort, mate, as they gave us against the Sharks, I'll be pretty happy. You know what, mate? Regardless of what the score ends up, if they put the effort in, we're going up against a pretty classy football team, mate. But in saying that, they're not polished, so they do have some deficiencies of their own, the Broncos, and I'm sure Uncle Wayne will have a game plan to try and exploit those, mate. But whatever it is, as long as they show the same ticker and willingness to play some football, mate, then I'll switch off happy.
Yeah, look, I expect Reece Walsh to to have a big game after all the talk from him last week. He is a rocks and diamond player. The top and bottom of him is quite far apart. I'd love to see him at the bottom end, throwing balls out, kicking balls out the full, things like that. But he's just an electric player. I love what I seen last week from Jai Gray, and it was good to see him doing some ball playing. It's an area I want to see him get better and better at. I want to see us be able to, with all those efforts, I want us to see us be able to kind of get more out of it than just showing the efforts, but nothing showing up on the scoreboard. Like we're not creating tries off the back of it. But it was good to see him setting up that try that he set up for Ty Munro, the one where the beautiful pass that he put AJ away to make that break. Those are the sort of things I want to see more and more. Once I start seeing that, I'll be happy to say, well, okay, maybe we do keep him at fullback and maybe we do look at putting Latrell Mitchell somewhere else. But for me, until I see that regularly, and I can't see him ousting Latrell Mitchell at fullback.
Nah, probably not, mate. And Wayne's been pretty public with his thoughts on where Latrell should be playing. But mate, this is where young Ward on Friday night could come into his own, mate. He's a little bit of the unknown there in terms of how much. I mean, I'm sure the Broncos and Madge would have some tape on him from the New South Wales Cup. You've only got to download Bar TV, for Christ's sake, to watch whatever you want there. But yeah, mate, he could be a little X factor on Friday night for us, mate. And yeah, I'm excited to see the boys play.
Yeah, I love the fact that he's getting his opportunity now, and some of these other young guys are seeing that there is a way for them to get in. Cody Walker's going to be here next year. We know that. It hasn't been made official, but all the talk is from himself, from Wayne and that, is saying he's going to be here next year. So we know it's a matter of time, and I believe that it's already been done, and I think they're going to wait for that announcement. Pardon me. I understand that it's all about timing or whatever, but he's only going to be another extra year. I can't see him going beyond next year, and we're going to need someone to have that number 6 jersey. So there's opportunities there, and I'd love for him to go out and have that game where you go, yeah, this is the kid that we want. I don't expect him to bang the door down or whatever. He's played 12 minutes or 15 minutes at NRL level now. It's about building on that, and I'd love to see where probably just have a full game this week, and then go back to New South Wales Cup, having that experience next week, because that's if we do get Latrell and Cody back for the Titans game. But going back with that experience, having that, and then having a full off-season, because he didn't have the full off-season. He's a part-time player. He wasn't in the full-time squad. He wasn't on a development contract. So, but going back and having a full off-season, I'd really love to see that, knowing what it's like, what the contact of NRL is like, what the speed of NRL is like.
Yeah, 100%, mate. He'd be a perfect young man to learn as much as he can off Cody Walker in the preseason, mate. And I'd be almost taping them two together, mate. In preseason and when next year rolls around to get ready for the season, because if anything does happen to Cody, which I hope it doesn't, but I'm sure it will. You've got that young fella there that goes in, knows the systems, knows the speed of the game, knows what he's about to expect, and hopefully we don't miss too much of a beat.
Well, you got anything else before we head off?
No, mate. No, not at all. I think I've been quite well behaved.
Any words of wisdom to a certain player out there?
Hey?
Any words of wisdom to a certain player out there? Bit of motivation?
Mate, you know what?
You did it work.
You know what, mate? I'm going to lay off him this week because he had a pretty good game on the weekend, and but I am watching, Mr. Keppy. I am watching. So
hey, I've got to give a shout out to a guy I thought played really, really well last week, and he's copped it a lot. And that's Jacob Host. I thought he played really well last week.
Yeah, he did. He did, mate. Tackled his ass off, mate, and I think there was a push from the Sharkies, like pretty obviously a number of them, because what did we have? Three or four tackles in there. So we played
In that
most of
20,
it.
we had 6 tackles all up and scored 2 tries compared to their 63.
So there was a lot of traffic going our way, mate. But I know that he made some very, very crucial tackles that could have quite easily led for tries, mate. So shout out to Hosty, he did well, and he's a top bloke as well, mate. And I don't think the club are going to re-sign him at all. But wherever he ends up, mate, for his footy career, I hope he goes well, because he deserves it.
Yeah, well, no, he's playing for his future right now. I don't see a world that he's going to be re-signed here. He's had his time here, but what it does is puts him in the shop window to extend his football career, possibly somewhere else, maybe over in the Super League over in England. So
Why not?
anyway, that about wraps us up for now. I'm your host Josh, joined here by Mark Rayner. Go the Rabbitohs.
Go the Rabbitohs.